Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Duo Planet, the YouTube channel where we talk all things media, and probably to one of the most anticipated videos for us to record. It's a Spider-Man 2 review. I'm joined by Jordan, of course.
Hey everybody.
Me and Jordan have done a lot of videos on Spider-Man 2 on its pre-release.
You may
Now
you
we're
may say we are nerds.
and now we're post-release. Uh, we're about two weeks and 2 days from launch. So by the time that this goes up, technically next week, but in the next
We
few
do
days,
wanna say spoiler.
yeah,
Give you a spoiler warning.
3 weeks from launch. So some people will have played it, some people won't have. There will be light spoilers and heavy spoilers in certain sections, mostly relating to the story. So we'll probably keep story till the end of the actual review discussion, as to not spoil it, so you can watch and get an idea of the base game, ideology.
Basically, we'll do a non-spoiler type of thing and then a spoiler thing.
Yeah, we'll basically leave the story out of everything up until the very end, where we talk about all of that juiciness. So let's get into it. I think the first category we should go into is probably gameplay.
Yeah.
We'll go gameplay, then traversal, then open world, then story and characters.
Alright,
And
we'll
then,
also get suits and stuff in there.
yeah,
Well, I'm probably more bothered about suits than you are.
I'm gonna say I rock the advanced 2.0 suit for most of the game. Whenever it
Yeah.
wasn't symbiotified.
Yeah. Alright.
So gameplay. Let's start with combat. I think it's a good place to begin, considering that's what you'll probably be doing most of the time. Uh, I think combat's vastly improved.
I think combat is it's
They
somewhat of the same, but it's not the same.
they've got rid of the really annoying gadget wheel, which
Yeah.
slowed combat down a lot in the first
Because
game.
taking forever, it just took forever to choose, pick a gadget to use, and then by the time you just I'm just gonna use anything.
They lowered us to 4 gadgets. We have an upshot, like a mass web
But
grapple,
instead, you just hold in a button and then press the corresponding
similar
other
to
button.
Ghost of Tsushima with its stances.
Yeah, basically you
Uh,
press I think it's left bumper to use your abilities, and then you press triangle or something to use it, and then for gadgets it's your right bumper, then you use the gadget.
I like the new way of doing it. I
I
think
think it's better.
it made combat and especially boss fights feel a lot more intense, because you were sort of not necessarily limited, but you sort of had to be wise about, you couldn't just throw everything at a boss and it die. You
I
sort of
barely
had
even use
to.
gadgets. I use power
I use them
suits
all the
better.
time. The gadgets were OP in the boss fights because when you upgrade them, they have the ability to actually knock the bosses into the air. Like even some of the big bosses. Like obviously we know Lizard is in the game and is a boss fight. Like Lizard
That
actually
were a fun boss fight.
he gets stunned by the upshot when you fire it
Yeah.
at
There's also
him.
that I think lizard in it as well. When you see like it turns, but his first transformation is more your classic lizard look, and
The
then
the the design that Insomniac made for him was
you got Craven who gives him a much better dose, and it turns him to a massive beast. That was fucking insane.
parry system, right? I'm gonna bring it up now because I personally am not a fan. I don't know about you. I feel like it's a nice idea, but it feels too Arkham.
I
I much preferred the dodging in the first game.
I
I
used
feel
the
like
dodge more, but I feel like the parry did help a little bit with some stuff.
yeah,
Especially when you do have the symbiote suit. Parrying with the symbiote suit is a lot better than parrying without it. Because like you use the power of the suit to parry, and I feel like that seems a bit better than using whatever else you've got. But yeah, I use dodging more than I did parrying.
I feel like the biggest problem I had with the parrying is that in a way it sort of replaces the dodge because you can parry every attack other than the unparryable ones, and you can dodge every attack other than the undodgeable ones. And it's sort of it makes your brain a little bit fried when you're in the middle of a boss fight and you're in a flow and all of a sudden you've dodged 3 attacks in a row and then the boss suddenly leaps into the air and does an undodgeable attack that you've got to
Yeah.
parry, and you forget that you actually have the ability. The amount of times I have been hit by a boss because I simply forgot I could parry was just unfathomable.
Mm.
The gameplay overall feels smoother.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
really does. I like the swinging. The swinging is 10 times fucking better.
The new combat moves that you can unlock, especially the air ones. So you've got an air one where you can you air attack them, and then you dodge, and Peter crawls underneath them, and then you can attack again and knock them into the floor, or you can hit them and then hold X, and Peter will bounce them off the floor, or you can web zip to the, or you can not web zip, or you can web kick them, and then you can press triangle, and he sort of throws them up into the air. You have a lot more ways to sort of keep an enemy off
So what
the
I've been
ground.
meaning to tell you. Do you know Nathan Fillion's got a cameo in it?
I do.
That he's one of the cat people outside the
Yep.
bodega. I watched a video the other day talking about it, and I was like, that's fucking funny.
Overall, if I was to rate the combat from 1 to 10, I would give it an 8 for overall effectiveness.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on
that. Now we'll go to traversal, because that is, while it's linked to gameplay, I feel like traversal is another core pillar of the Spider-Man games.
Really is.
Web swinging.
Have you? Firstly. You can actually they added a dial thing for web swinging.
Yeah, the web assist.
And I find it funny because I saw someone turn it all the way down, and it was just the gameplay with it all the way down just reminded me of the footage from Spider-Man in the Marvel Avengers game.
Yeah. Well, when you turn it down, it basically becomes full physics dependent.
Yeah.
So when it's all the way up, you sort of have an invisible barrier around you, where it's if you press the button to swing, you'll never hit the floor, or you'll smoothly transition to wall running. When it's all the way off, you you can swing, but if you're late on actually throwing the web out, you'll actually swing into the floor and start running, which I think's cool. But I think if they're going to keep it in the next game, they need to add the ability to run along the floor with the web, and to jump off with the web still attached, so that you can finish the swing.
Yeah, instead of I feel like as well what they should add is a different way. Do you know with the super jump?
Yeah.
I think they should add something from probably Toby's films where there is parts of where he is holding onto a web and he's running, and then he jumps and still got the web, so he's able to continue swinging with it. And I think that'd be a cool takeoff.
I think because the air, speaking of the air abilities, because you get two, you get one that launches you higher into the air and one that launches you forward. I think they have some room to add, they could add an ability where you do a full 360, and so you not a full 360 but a 180, and you're now going the other direction. Because that would add another element to your gameplay, where all of a sudden you need to turn around, you don't then have to swing. Or in my case, now when I turn around, if I'm near a building, I'll corner tether my way around the building and then swing out the other side. Which, by the way, corner tethering, or corner turning, as I think it's called in the game, I call it tethering. They moved it from being a thing where you're running along the wall and then you web the side of the building and then swing around it. You can now be off the building and you just move your directional stick to towards the building and then hold circle, and Peter or Miles will throw out a web, and then you'll be able to smoothly turn around the building. That made chase scenes so much easier
Yeah.
and so much more
I'm
stylish.
also glad that they got rid of the button mashing when you stop in a car,
Oh yeah, the
because like
crimes.
that would annoy me a lot in the original, and now it's just instant.
I know that I'm gonna forget about that when I go back and play the first one, and I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna
I
like
did
hold
that.
the car. I'm gonna forget about it, and then the car's just gonna crush me.
I did
Uh,
that in the. I did that in the when I first started the game. I did a crime, and it was it was a car chase. I landed on the car, about to stop it, and I was mashing square, and I realized nothing was happening, and it just stopped instantly. I was like, "Oh, so they've added a thing where you don't have to do that now."
loop
But
de looping.
loop de
Loop de
looping,
looping
yeah.
is a thing, and loop de looping is probably my favorite thing to do in the game.
I haven't
The
done
fact,
that yet. Like, what when you go around and around?
yeah.
Don't think I've done that yet.
So my favorite thing to do in the game now is jump off a building, enter into a dive, and then if you're in a dive for a period of time, and then throw a web out, and you hold the web, Peter or Miles will actually like complete a full arc and like loop around, and then you can like press X like you normally would to swing away, and they will like launch themselves further or higher depending on how you exit the loop de loop. Really fun. Along with super slingshotting, you can get some like
Oh, the
mad.
slingshotting is so fun.
So the one of the things that I ended up doing in the game was I did a slingshot off of a building, then dove down into between a bunch of buildings, looped it around them, shot myself off, and then corner tethered towards the water, and then we're going to bring this next part up, and then use the web wings to enter a tunnel to get across
I was about to mention the web
the river.
wings.
Web
The web
wings,
wings are so fun.
I feel they're a little disappointing.
I really enjoyed them.
I think they're a good addition, but I think that the wind funnel things are a little too convenient.
What
I feel,
they're everywhere. I think they're
yeah,
everywhere.
I feel like it should the wind funnels themselves should only be over the river to be able to get across the river quicker. I don't think you need them in the middle of the city. I get that for speed purposes it's nice, but I feel like you can swing faster than you can go through a
Yeah.
wind funnel. Like I have been going so fast at some points that I've not been able to actually.
To be
Up.
fair, I I think the web wings work better when you mix it with swinging, or switching between both of them. It work. I can get places a lot faster.
Oh yeah, if you've
So
got
I
like a
switch from both all the time.
if you've got like an area that you need to get through, or like you need to get between like two buildings, and you're like not going to make it if you keep like not web like winging, I'll pop the web wings and I'll glide through the opening. And then if you press triangle again, I press triangle instead of just throwing a web line out. He actually does like a spin where like he puts the web wings away in a spin, and then you can like thingy out of it. Another thing I want to mention: animations. Miles's are the same, obviously. Miles it has like no new animations, I don't think, from thing. But Peter's,
Peters are really good.
listen, I didn't realize until like halfway through the game that while I was doing the tricks as Peter, I had the Miles effect, where depending on what trick you're doing, when you like enter a swing, he does like a different move in the swing.
I know. I think one that I've seen that's my favorite is the Rubik's cube.
The dive for the Ruby, yeah, the
Yeah,
Rubik's cube
where he
dive.
does a Rubik's cube mid-air. I
My
think
favorite, my favorite one is if you do like a combination of like movements with the analog stick while doing tricks. There's one I think where Peter like enters like a sideward spin, so he's like spinning at like a diagonal angle, and it looks really cool.
yeah. I feel
Uh,
like Peter in this one's actually got is kind of like having fun with swinging more.
it's
Like same with
mentoring.
Miles. Same with Miles. Like he's having a lot more fun with it than he was beforehand.
Yeah. Not to
Yeah,
mention the fact that his entire like demeanor while swinging has changed. Like
yeah.
his entire moveset, like the animation set has like tripled for Peter. And it's sad to see that Miles didn't get any new animations because I would have liked some new like tricks from Miles.
Yeah.
But I assume that the reason they didn't do that is because Miles already had really cool tricks.
Yes, true.
Now we'll talk about suits now. Actually, we'll throw suits in here. There are a lot of them.
I'm actually got the game up right now to go through that.
There
Let
is
me look.
there's something that's like
So
60
I
something.
will. I think yeah. How many is it each?
It's like 60 something. I think Peter has more than Miles. I think.
Yeah. Well, and then not each suit, but a lot of the suits have then different color variants as well.
Favorite suit, go.
Favorite suit.
Yeah, which one's your favorite?
Do I want to choose? Like, can I add symbiotes as a different thing?
Yeah, favorite non-alien suit.
Right. Favorite non-alien suit is. I'll do one for Peter and one for Miles. For Peter, it is definitely his new advanced suit. I think it's a lot better. I didn't like the dark tones of the first one, but I like this one. It looks a lot cleaner and it looks great. For Miles, I like his new one. But I also do like his evolved one.
I fucking hate the evolved one.
Do you know what? You know what's funny about the evolved one? It's actually an Adidas
Yeah, I
crossover.
know. The worst thing about the evolved suit is the mask. Like the suit itself is fine. The problem I have is the fact that he's wearing a mask with no like top on it. He's literally showing his hair. And do you want to know what the worst part about that is? By
Well,
showing his hair, he's leaving his hair everywhere during fights. Someone can find a
and the thing
hair.
is, I think what
That's
annoys me
fine.
with it is he's got a hood but doesn't fucking wear it.
Well, if someone got a hair from a fight and analysed it, they'd be like, "Huh, this is Miles Morales' hair. Interesting."
And he's got like the different color variations for that suit are cool.
There is a good color variation where I think it's black and red, which is like
Yeah,
Miles's colors.
yeah, I like that one.
That one is so much better than the red and blue.
So I'll go through. So for Peter, we have his advanced suit 2.0.
Plate.
William would like a plate.
Oh, I need to shut that down with the door open.
Jesus.
Carry on.
Peter has obviously has his advanced suit 2.0, which comes with a red and black version, which I wore the most because I actually really like the color combination.
I rocked the standard one. I liked the red and black one on the Advanced 2.0, but like for some reason the darker like thing, I changed it in the end of the game. Like after Peter gets rid of the symbiote,
And then
which I don't think is a spoiler because everyone
Yeah.
sort of knows that he's getting rid of it.
There's a version of it where the colors are like switched, so like the blue where the red is on his other suit is where the blue is, and the red versus the blue and that like it's switched. Then you have one that's just it's fucking yellow, which does not look
Yeah.
right.
So I feel like he's
So yeah, then you've got the black suit, which I really love the black suit. Thing is, you've got two different versions of the black suit. Like you've got the first one he gets, and then you get one that's much more venomized. Right. So next suit we have is the black suit, which technically has its own variant, but is its own suit, and one is his first one he gets, which yeah, and then he gets much more of a venomized version with a bigger spider logo and looks very scaly and stuff like that.
I think one of the best things they did with the suits in Spider-Man 2 is the fact that not only are they made well, they're made with detail.
Yeah.
And I mean like individual detail. Like each lens of each suit is somewhat different. Each fabric looks different.
Next one we have is the Anti-Venom suit, which I have to say was a cool addition, having Anti-Venom and having Peter be the one to get it.
I sort of like guessed halfway through the game that we were going down the route of Anti-Venom.
Next we have the classic suit, which is the Peter's. It's his first suit when in the first game, innit? Really.
Yeah.
Then you have the Scarlet Mark III suit, where it's the Scarlet Spider suit with much more.
It's the one that people really didn't like, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
they don't
hood
really
one.
like this one.
I don't know why, because I think the
it looks
original
cool.
Scarlet Spider one is ugly. Right, the new one, the one that they've now reverted from, back to the original. The new one with the hood, I think looks like a really good addition to like Spider-Man's general attire because it adds a layer of mystery to him with the hood.
Like Scarlet Spider is obviously not Peter; it's Ben Reilly,
Who is a clone of Peter.
Who is a clone of Peter. Next suit we have Advanced suit from the first game, which has a black and white variant.
I quite like because it means that you can actually see the differences between the 2.0 and the original. The first one, I didn't realise just how orange the red is.
Yeah.
Like, it's really orange.
It looks very dark.
But that black and white variant.
Next we have the Kumo suit. Kumo suit, however you say it.
Which is ugly.
It does not look cool. It looks weird. Next we have Hybrid suit, which is the MCU suit from No Way Home, where it's obviously his regular suit mixed with his Iron Spider suit. Then we have the Amazing Spider-Man suit from the first movie. Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, which
it's a fan favourite.
Which they ended up changing, didn't they? Because it didn't look right when it first was added.
It had it didn't have the correct colour correction on it. So the red was like drawn out.
Yeah.
Instead of being bright and popping like it does in the film.
Next, we have Now we have Spider-Man 2099 black suit. Oh, it's got a black variant.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Scarlet Spider suit, which is the original. Then we have Superior Spider-Man suit, which, if you guys don't know who Superior Spider-Man is, it is basically Doc Ock, who took over Peter's body and tried to be basically a better Spider-Man. Then we have the Anti-Ock suit, which is the suit that you fight Doc Ock in at the end of the first game. Then we have the Arachnite suit, which is Spider-Man mixed with Moon Knight.
And looks fucking sick.
Then we have the Into the Spider-Verse Noir suit, which looks fucking amazing.
My only downside to the Noir suit is that it doesn't automatically make everything black and white.
Yeah, I know people have been actually trying to do it. People have actually tried to do that by having this thing.
I think it'd be quite cool.
Then there's the homemade suit that's from the MCU, which is the homemade one that Peter made, which looks like PJs. Then we have Spider-Punk. Then we have Secret Wars Civil War suit, which is a universe where Peter has a suit where it has tech inside of it that is Falcon. Because I think Falcon died in this universe, and he decides to take Falcon's tech. And in this, the web wings are actually replaced with Falcon wings. Then we have the Iron Spider armor suit, the original, not the MCU. Then we have the Sam Raimi black suit. Then we have obviously the normal Sam Raimi suit. Then we have the upgraded classic suit, which is another MCU one from Spider-Man Homecoming and Civil War. Then we have new blue suit, which the new blue suit looks very odd. Then we have upgraded suit from Spider-Man Far From Home. Then we have the stealth suit from Spider-Man No Way Home, which is not No Way Home, Far From Home, which is obviously Spider-Monkey. Then we have the classic black suit, which is obviously like the normal look of Spider-Man, where it's like all just smooth. Then we have the Iron Spider suit from the MCU. Then we have the new red and blue suit, which is the end of No Way Home from the final swing, which looks fucking great. Then we have the black and gold suit from the MCU. Then we have Life Story suit, which is like a space type thing. Then we have the Last Hunt suit, which is a Spider-Man suit that is inspired by Kraven the Hunter. Then we have the Saving Lives suit, which is kind of a Wraith mixed spider suit. Then we have the Aruntia suit. I don't know how you say that. Then we have the Apocalyptic suit. We have the Tactical suit, Stone Monkey suit, and then the 25th Century suit.
Lots of suits for Peter.
Onto Miles, we have his upgraded suit, which is what he has in this. Which I like the color variations for this one, because we have a version of it that is much more Peter, which is Peter's colors. Then we have like a blue neon and then a white and red one. Then we have his evolved suit, his family business suit, classic suit from the first from his solo game. Then we have the track suit, Brooklyn 2099 suit. Then we have his sportwear suit, which is where I think it's his first training suit, where he's like wearing his coat. Then we have a life story suit for him. Then we have his Miles Morales 2099 suit. We have his advanced tech suit. We have his Shadow Spider suit, which I think is supposed to be basically his version of the Arachni suit.
Yeah, it is.
Then we have the Miles Morales 2020 suit. We have his Purple Rain suit, which is his Prowler type of look. Then we have his Bodega Cat suit, which I'm glad they brought that back. Then we have his Forever suit, which, if you turn it to the all black version, you'll recognise as a Black Panther suit in Spider-Man format to basically, give homage to the one and only Chadwick Boseman. And if you go, where is it where you go now? You go to the embassy, don't you?
Wakandan embassy, yeah.
If you go to the Wakanda embassy in the game, Miles will actually do the Wakanda Forever arm thing in front of it. And
I think it's a shame that Peter isn't able to do it as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the fact that Miles is able to do it and Peter's not is kind of lazy. And I get why, because Miles is obviously a black character, and so is Black Panther. But I feel like, to pay respects to Chadwick, I'd sort of like to also be able to do it as Peter.
Next we have Homemade Suit, which is Miles' homemade suit, which looks okay, I guess. Then we have his Into the Spider-Verse suit. We have his Into the Spider-Verse SB suit, which is the one with the cape, and he's like where he buys it from Stan Lee in that shop. Next we have the End suit, which is like a hoodie tracksuit type of thing. Then we have his 10th anniversary suit, which looks very weird. Then we have his Programmable Matter suit, his Strike suit, his Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. suit, which I really like. Then we have his Great Responsibility suit, which is the suit he gets in his solo game that Peter gifts him. Then we have Across the Spider-Verse, so we get both suits. We get Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know which one I like better, Across or Into.
I prefer Across.
Then we have Crimson Cowl. Then we have... I like this one. It's a Wolverine suit. It's Best There Is suit, which is basically a Wolverine type suit, and the colour variations are pretty cool as well, because they're all like pretty much Wolverine-esque colours. Then we have his Dark Ages suit, which is a kind of like Venom suit. Then we have a Absolute Carnage suit. Then we have his King in Black suit, his Boricua suit. I can't say that. Boricua suit, I'm guessing. Then we have his smoke and mirror suit, which is basically a suit for. It's a Mysterio type suit. Then he's got his own Craven the Hunter style suit called Most Dangerous Game suit. Then with his City Sound suit, Encoded suit, Biomechanical suit. Then we have his Tokustu suit, his Agimatsu, and then Red Spectre suit. So that's all the suits.
Lots of suits,
Basically a lot.
There is one. The smoke and mirror suit does have a variant, which is black, gold, and white, or white, gold, and black, should I say? And people have assumed that it's a homage to Power Rangers with the way that it looks, and I can't unsee it now.
Yeah.
So that is suits. We'll talk a little bit about the open world now, which I think is vastly improved. I do wish the activities were different. It does sort of feel like more of the same. Not saying that's a bad thing, because it was already amazing in the first game.
They have added a few things, like the Venom type of things they do.
I think in future I would
can't
like
really
more...
talk side stuff without talking spoilers, because some of them come with the main story.
Yeah. What we can talk about is, I hope in the next game they add more actual side missions, as opposed to like tick the box style activities.
I like those tick the box activities. I like the little like crime stat things, but I want more side stories as well.
Yeah, especially when the side stuff is on par with the main story.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about now.
Right,
so, if you've been with us up until now, thank you. If you don't want any spoilers, feel free to click off now, because this will be a full unhinged spoiler fest from now on.
Yeah.
If you are going to leave us, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. But for now, let's get into the story, because this opening is my favourite opening to any game in the past 4 years.
Yeah, that opening was fucking amazing.
The fact that Peter's a teacher.
Yeah, that was funny.
Which fits him so well.
And then gets fired instantly.
Because he goes to save people as Spider-Man. But besides the point. Sandman as the opening villain is a step up from Kingpin.
The Sandman fight was so fun. As well.
And it was such a good set piece to set the game off with.
Like, because you get to see all the new movements and stuff like that, and all the new stuff that's been added as well, which are really well done.
Introduction to the hunters in the prison break mission.
I want to mention one of the missions from the Sandman thing, because it's just it still makes me laugh. The fucking JJ swing.
Yeah.
Because like you have to save a VIP, and it turns out to be none other than J. Jonah Jameson, and you have to swing him to hospital, and he's just there complaining that you've just saved his life, and it really just made me laugh. And then obviously after that, there's also like missions where you have to swing people to hospital and stuff like that, which Spider-Man would do, which I really like. And then stuff like it reminds me of like the Spider-Man 2 game where you had to save people and you would take them to hospital. So it was good to see that type of mission.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, the introduction to the hunters was really good as well.
Yeah, the boat mission where you're basically trying to stop them from breaking Scorpion and Martin Lee out was...
Yeah, seeing Miles look at Martin Lee in that scene just personified the fact that Miles really, at that moment, seemed to be very unhinged.
Yeah.
That he didn't want to.
I was genuinely scared Miles was going to kill him.
Same, because he was very quiet. He just ended up going quiet, and Peter's there just worried as hell. And I was worried with him. I was like, is Miles really about to do this? And then later on, when Lee's out of his cage, Miles is walking as Peter's trying to save people from this blade of the ship, and Miles does not seem to like realize or care or anything, and it just shows the anger in him a lot more.
And then we get a big shock because we get to see Scorpion get murked.
Yeah, we see Scorpion murdered. Scorpion is dead. Basically, a lot of Peter's main villains are dead.
Yeah, the original Sinister Stick. But the thing I think is, I doubt they're going to stay dead. I think they'll replace them.
Have you seen? There is actually a scene. Well, not a scene. There is actually something that someone did find that's not in the actual game, and it's headpieces of villains, and Rhino is one of them that someone found behind a wall in the game. They somehow glitched into it or something, and were able to find heads mounted on a wall, and Rhino was one of them.
Yeah, a lot of them are dead. Sadly, no. Shocker! Get back here!
Yeah, Shocker's dead.
So yeah, really good opening to this game. I would say it's up there with some of the best openings to games I've played. It's up there with the Batman Arkham openings for sure.
Definitely.
A lot of the Batman Arkham openings. I don't think it's as good as the Arkham City opening, but I do think it's as good as like Origins and
Yeah.
And
then, as the game goes on, there is a scene with when you meet Harry for the first time.
Yep.
You go on a bike ride, which
I thought was just so wholesome.
It was so wholesome watching them, and then they break into the fucking school, which then we have flashbacks of young Peter, which was really fucking cool. It was cool to see how these two were when they were kids.
The weird thing is, right, we haven't seen this version of Peter and Harry interact until this game. And yet the second he appeared on screen, I knew that they were best friends.
Yeah, they felt like best friends.
Fact, right? Firstly, Yuri Lowenthal. This game is his magnum opus. Right?
Yeah.
I cannot give Yuri Lowenthal enough praise for how well, especially later in the game, when he's like in symbiote mode and post symbiote mode, it is truly something to behold. Not just like Peter, but like every character. Graham Phillips as Harry.
It was really well done.
Really, like not just like really well done, but
I think
like
MJ in this was a lot better as well.
Oh yeah, Laura Bailey has come back and ate that role.
Like obviously, like the voice acting that was done, it was more of like the missions with her. But like I feel like the missions in this one with her, there's less, but they feel justified.
I felt more dangerous as MJ than I did as
Peter. Yeah, like the fact that you get a taser that's from Sicaria, that was fucking amazing. The fucking taser thing, and I felt like MJ actually had much more of a purpose than she did in the first game, which felt great to have. What's next? Let's move ahead to when Peter gets the black suit.
One thing I want to mention before we do that, Agent Venom.
Is that what he's actually called?
Yeah.
Like, because we didn't get a name for him, and I was like, Agent Venom. They really did that to Harry.
Do you know when they do the fist bump and he like steals the emblem?
Hmm.
That is the Agent Venom emblem.
Okay then.
So yeah, Harry is Agent Venom.
Right.
And obviously, he and Peter. So MJ does a mission. You get an MJ mission in a zoo where you go to find Dr. Connors, and Harry and Peter fight Craven, and Peter gets stabbed.
Yeah, Peter gets
Fatally.
stabbed. And basically dies.
No, he does die.
He dies, and then the symbiote
Goes
to him and brings him back to life. And that's when Peter gets the symbiote, and obviously since Harry doesn't have it anymore, Harry is dying again. So Peter tries to basically give the suit back. He tries in that moment, but it doesn't work. So he tries to work it out with him to get it back. Throughout the game, you get Harry talking and stuff like that. There's a lot of fights and stuff, and then there's the boss fight with Craven.
Well, there's the lizard boss fight.
Oh, the lizard boss fight. Yeah, the lizard boss fight was so much fun.
Chase around the city was my favourite part.
Yeah, that was really good.
Unlike in the first game where you chase the helicopter around and you sort of a little bit like, this is cool, but like it doesn't feel dangerous. You saw Lizard like actually like tearing cars apart and like smashing through buildings, and that was terrifying.
Seeing the city be smashed up and like destroyed was so good. I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Once Dr. Connors is actually cured and they're in his lab, Peter finds out that it's an alien.
Yep.
That the symbiote's an alien.
Turns out it crashed to Earth, and Osborn took it, and that's how Dr. Connors lost his arm.
Which I think is just fucking crazy.
Which was kind of funny for the fact that technically the reason why, in it also like technically that's why Dr. Connors became Lizard in the first place.
Yep.
So the reason he becomes Lizard is because he lost his arm to an alien.
Basically, Norman Osborn is like responsible for everything.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And after
we get a very nice scene during this as well.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Connors says that him and Peter need to destroy the symbiote, and Peter, I audibly gasped when Peter just responded with "destroy us." I was like, "Oh no!
Oh no, it's happening."
Then Miles gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
Well, Peter goes back to his house to sleep, and then the symbiote takes control of him when hunters arrive. You play as MJ as you go through, and in the end of the mission, MJ zaps Peter with the taser, and he like gets back up, and she goes over to him and she's like, "Peter, you okay?" And Peter goes, "MJ," and then you hear for the first time the voice, and it's just Tony Todd saying, "Run." And I was like, "Yep, don't have to tell me twice. I'm gone."
I'm bye.
I paused the game. I was like, I need a second. I started playing again. And then you're running away from this symbiote Peter. And it's terrifying.
It really is. It was like a very horror moment. And then you end up in like this area blocked off. Wait, is that later in the game or is that before? No, that's before the Craven stuff. You'll end up in this locked area, and there's hunters outside, and Miles is there fighting them while MJ is being stalked by.
Miles gets taken, and then Miles breaks out because Miles is a fucking Spider-Man, and he ain't no little bitch. And then he comes face to face with fucking Martin Lee, and Martin Lee's boss fight in this game was hard.
It was fucking it was really hard.
He's really so fast.
It was a lot different than his boss fight in the first Spider-Man game, but then you move on to the boss fight like in his realm as well. There's like a boss fight outside his realm, and then there's one inside of it, and it's It's basically just a bunch of, and then obviously, as always, Martin Lee finds out Miles is who is behind Miles's mask. Finds out it's Miles. Finds out that the reason Miles hates him so much is because he killed his dad.
And he's not very pleased about that. But Martin Lee gets away because Miles helped him escape.
Yeah,
Miles...
that's the thing for me, is that Miles didn't take his revenge. Instead, he knew that he couldn't, like, forgive him, but he couldn't let the hate continue. Which I really like. Miles's arc in this was so good. So it was him letting go of his hate for Martin Lee.
Then you get a scene between Peter and Rio Morales, where she basically tells Peter that the only thing Miles ever talks about is how to help him and how to be a better Spider-Man for him.
Yeah.
Then Peter gets told that Martin Lee's been spotted near Feast, so he goes and he finds out that that Miles has obviously been kidnapped by Kraven. Peter goes, and we enter like boss fight central now. Peter goes full symbiote mode and absolutely destroys a bunch of them. Then lifts up a car and threatens to drop it on someone if they don't tell him where Miles is. He goes inside. He gets trapped in a cage by Kraven, who taunts him with Miles. He breaks free. Kraven boss fight. The Kraven boss fight was awesome.
It really was.
The second phase in particular, where the bell comes into play, it was really fun. But then you beat Kraven. You get a really nice scene where...
And then you get another boss fight.
Miles is back up. Peter's like got Kraven by the tendrils and he's like ready to kill him. And then Miles zaps him and Kraven's like, no! And then Peter looks at Miles and he's like, I'm sorry, man, but you were going to kill him. I had to stop you. And then you get a Peter boss fight. And the Peter boss fight can go suck a dick.
It was a good boss fight, but it really can. That was a good boss fight to be in. And then, isn't that when he sets himself free?
You get a Tobey Maguire-esque scene at the end of the boss fight, where you're like tapping X and he tears the symbiote off of his mask, and then you like pull the analog sticks to the side and he rips it off his chest and then he throws it away, and then you're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
He gets rid of the symbiote and they lock it up in this like container. And Peter puts it on his back, and I think he goes to Oscorp, doesn't he?
Yeah, to
give it to Dr. Connors. But guess who's there?
Harry!
Harry's there. And what happens? Harry is very pissed off at Peter, wanting to destroy it. Basically wants to destroy it. He destroys the container. The symbiote goes over to Harry. And what do we get? Venom.
Who it doesn't actually say his name.
It doesn't say his name yet.
You know who it is.
Guess what, guys? It doesn't end there. Peter's knocked out. Peter's gone.
And then for some reason, like the camera just pans over to Venom,
and
as
we
like
get
guards rush into the room.
And
I was sort of like, hang on, why is Venom the focus all of a sudden? And then the camera pans behind his back, and I was like, that's a bit of a weird angle to go. And then the bars on the screen fade away, and then it's like, press X to attack. And I was like, okay, I press X, Venom swung his arm. I was like, hang on, I didn't see that right. Maybe it was like a glitch. Pressed it, nope, Venom attacks again. Nope, playable Venom section.
He feels like an absolute beast because he runs through walls like they're nothing. And then what happens? We get into... what's that area called now in New York? Times Square. We fight Kraven as Venom.
And then Venom beats him, obviously.
And then fucking kills him.
And not just kills him, but like eats his entire head.
Eats his head, and yeah. And that was fucking menacing.
And
that's
then
when we get
to Times Square. And if you go to Times Square after that, and you find the billboard, Kraven's like pendant thing, it's still there in a pool of blood.
Ah, okay. So after that, what happens after that now?
Well, Peter wakes up, and Peter's like, "Oh God, Harry, what have you done?" You track him down and you get introduced to the symbiote enemies. You get the you get the classic line from Tony Todd of "We're gonna heal the world."
Yeah.
Miles goes and makes a beat, which gave me PTSD to the beat missions in Miles Morales. And then you have like sonic gadgets that you can use against the symbiotes. And then basically, Harry goes to Peter's house where MJ is. Peter rushes over. You get the classic line. Well, Peter says to Harry, "We need to get that thing off of you." Harry like throws his hand down and like tendrils shoot out and he like crushes a table under it. And he says, "Don't call us a thing." And he goes, "Harry," and Harry goes, "We are not Harry. We are Venom."
Yeah,
And then
it goes Harry saying "we are," and then it's Tony Todd. Venom.
Well, actually, it's Harry who says "we," and then both of them say "are," and then Tony Todd finishes with Venom.
Yeah, Tony Todd's such
so
a
cool.
great fucking actor. If anyone doesn't know, if anyone's a horror fan like me, you'll know Tony Todd from films such as The Candyman or Final Destination, and you'll know his voice. So him voicing Venom was such a fucking amazing thing to hear.
And then you get a Scream boss fight because, like, why not?
Yeah, MJ becomes Scream. If you don't know what Scream
Why?
is, she is another symbiote, and that is MJ.
And like,
And the
why
things that
not?
she says to Peter, Jesus Christ,
I'm gonna
she
say
rips into him massively.
I don't think I've ever witnessed an argument in a game between two people that are fighting, especially an alien creature and a spider person, where I've been like, "Damn, MJ, you didn't have to violate my man's like that. Come on."
Yeah,
Like,
and then
like,
you convince her to get rid of it.
Your dreams are always more important than mine, and Peter's like,
And they
I didn't mean to make you feel like that.
They
MJ,
even mention that people that the symbiote is a hive mind. They even mention it like they are connected to it. Like Peter says, he feels that he's connected to the symbiote still. And isn't that when he realizes that he's still got a piece of the symbiote in him?
Well, he does have a piece of the symbiote in him still, but it's sort of like a residual effect.
Yeah.
And after the Scream boss fight, he rushes over to City Hall to help Miles, and he's knocked unconscious, and I believe he's like sort of dying.
Yeah.
In like a thing, and Martin Lee appears, and he creates a barrier around him. He takes Miles into Peter's mind. You get to see the Raft prison break again. You get a homage to, I don't know if you remember the Spider-Man 2018 like teaser trailer thing where all the villains are like hitting Peter down.
Yeah.
You get like a homage to that with Miles, and then when you finally get to Peter and you like cleanse him, you see him like kneeled over Aunt May crying.
That was sad.
At that point, I realized
how many times do I have to watch Aunt May die?
That this is like a year after Aunt May's death, and Peter is still harboring that guilt of like not being able to save her. And then they come back to the real world. They're like, Martin Lee goes, "We did it," but Martin Lee's not got his powers anymore. No. Miles is getting surrounded by symbiotes, and he's like, "Spider-Man, get up!" And Peter jolts awake. He flips up, and then his body is encased in a white and black symbiote. And he does the like superhero thing where he like thrusts his arms out, and there's like an explosion of energy. More fucking anti-Venom.
We have anti-Venom, which was such like a cool.
It was such a surprise at the time because I didn't know it was in the game.
There was a lot of surprises in this. There was a lot of more symbiotes in this than I thought there was gonna be. Then the world is covered in symbiote goo.
Yeah, because you go to Doc Connor's lab because Harry's gone there as Venom. And he gets the meteor and he like fuses it together. And when you come out of the sewers after the cutscene where Norman's like, "Please save my son," yeah, symbiote go everywhere.
Yeah, but obviously Dr. Connors tells him to kill Harry.
Yeah.
You have to kill the host.
And now we enter the end game. Which the last few missions are basically Miles gets a new suit, which everyone hates. You go to Peter's house and you have like a strategy meeting. You get one final fucking MJ mission, which genuinely felt like a Dead Space mission. And then you get a Venom boss fight, and the Venom boss fight is epic. Venom grows wings and starts just
fucking wings.
flying.
And then the Venom boss fight, you fight him as Miles as well.
I preferred fighting him as Miles, I think.
Yeah. And
then the Miles section, you had like
it's because they're trying to use the particle accelerator to destroy the stone that brought Venom
Speaking
to
of the
Earth.
particle accelerator, right? I didn't bring this up, but can we just talk about some of Black Suit Peter's like quips for a second? The guy comes out of the fucking like woods area in the Emily May Foundation, and he's got like this bear thing over his head. It's like, I didn't know there was bears in these woods. And the guy like swings at him and he dodges it and he goes, "Before we get started, there's something I have to tell you." And then in the cheekiest and most like hushed tone, he goes, "I'm fresh out of honey." And then the guy just like fucking thinks. And then later you're fixing the particle accelerator with Harry as the black suit, and he's like,
"Yeah,
well, I'll go fix it." And and Harry's like, "I'm not sure if that's a good idea." Peter just goes, "Relax and be a good proton." And you hear Harry just go, "What?" And he turns around to him and does the Deadpool thing where he's just like, "Stay positive." Not gonna lie, big fan of the dad jokes.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah, big fan of the dad jokes.
They were so like all the jokes in this were entirely fucking amazing. I loved them.
And during the Venom boss fight, you get like a clarification where it's like the symbiote is talking to Miles. It's not Harry, it's the symbiote. And the symbiote sort of says, "You're the reason we're separated. You were jealous of the connection we had." And then, surprisingly, because I was like, I don't think he's jealous. I think he feels neglected. To my surprise, Miles is like, maybe I was jealous.
Mm.
You came back, and all of a sudden, he was a second priority to Peter, and they finally beat him. And the thing explodes, and it destroys the meteorite, and all the symbiotes are sort of like vanquished, except the anti-venom symbiote, ironically.
Yeah, because it's not connected to the overall hive mind anymore.
Harry's dead, basically, and you get like you get like an Aunt May style fake out.
You get a fake out where he's dead, and then
Miles
uses his new electricity powers to restart his heart, but he's technically in a fucking coma.
Yep, and that's where we get the post-credit scene from.
Yeah.
Get the G serum ready, Jordan.
Get the G serum, and then there's obviously the one where Osborn goes to the raft to meet Otto to ask him who Spider-Man is, to ask who they are, and Otto won't tell him, and he says they hurt my son or something, and Otto's like, good, basically saying fuck you.
When Otto said that, I sort of went, ooh,
damn. Because Otto, even though Otto didn't get his own revenge, he still got revenge.
And then Norman asks Otto what he's writing.
Yeah,
and then
it says the final chapter.
You pan into Otto's face, and the way that the light's hitting his face, his glasses sort of make a Spider-Man like thing, like eye thing.
Yeah.
I think by the final chapter, I think we might get a superior Insomniac Spider-Man.
That'd be pretty cool. And then, just quickly about the side stuff, we have the Flame, which is Carnage.
Yep.
We get Carnage, technically. We don't get it, but we know that the symbiote's there. Wraith is a part of that. Then we have something to do with the Chameleon as well inside of it, which was pretty cool. And then obviously you get all this other side stuff. You get the Brooklyn Vision missions,
who I believe the Chameleon in this version is Craven's brother.
Yeah, there are many different versions of Chameleon. Most of them are him and Craven being brothers. A lot of them are that they're brothers. Obviously, Craven grew up as a hunter, while Chameleon grew up as this very gifted hide and seeker.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, yeah. I think that my running like synopsis for like my thoughts on Spider-Man is a flawed masterpiece. Because it isn't perfect, but it is perfect in all the ways that count.
No game is perfect.
Jordan, what would you rate Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2 altogether?
Yep. Everything.
I want to know yours first.
9 out of 10.
Right, I was gonna go 9 out of 10 as well. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of 8s out of 10, specifically from IGN, who rated the first 2 games as 9s out of 10, which means that they think that Spider-Man 2 is a step down from the previous
who
ones.
listens to IGN anyway?
And then I've seen a couple of 10s.
Yeah.
And I feel like to claim something's a 10, it needs to be perfect.
It needs to be perfect. It needs to be flawless.
Sadly,
nothing
Spider-Man
really is.
2 does have some glaring flaws in both its pacing and its general minute-to-minute gameplay. However, that doesn't detract from the general enjoyment I got from the game. So, Spider-Man 2, 9 out of 10, a solid contender for this year's Game of the Year award. I think that's everything, Jordan.
Yeah, I think that's everything too.
Well,
nothing else.
I've been one of your hosts, Azteral.
I've been the host, Slasher.
If you did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the garbage YouTube's asked you to do. We will see you in our next video. And for now, remember that with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility. Bye for now.
Forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
It's over, Anakin!